much for the introduction. Yeah, I'm glad to have the opportunity to share a couple of remarkable events and developments over the past year that have come across my way. And the first I'd like to highlight is that in Europe, the account-to-account instant payments have really become the new normal in several countries already, and are quickly doing the same in other countries. And especially there is still a big gap outside the Eurozone. Instant transfers are outpacing the traditional credit transfers. Countries like the UK, Denmark, and Sweden, more than half of the credit transfers are instant. Within the Eurozone, however, they're catching up. They started later from 2017, whereas the other countries started already 2012, 2013. And there are now some clear leaders emerging, the Netherlands, Spain as well, Slovenia, small country, but making big steps. Whereas the larger countries like France and Germany are still a bit lagging, but expected to pick up. And the picking up is also pushed, spurred on, you could say, by the regulatory authorities, both the European Commission and the ECB. The ECB has mandated to make interoperability possible through the TIPS system, which has gone live 2 years ago. And at this moment, all the banks that are using SCT Inst are forced effectively to join that system so that they can all exchange payments between them. And also there is still up in the air, but expected before the end of the year, perhaps regulatory intervention coming from the European Commission. So this trend is here to stay. The second remarkable event is what I call Facebook's about face. There was a lot of turmoil in the market about the Libra project, the stablecoin that Facebook announced back in 2019. 2020, there was a reversed version after the first regulatory pushback, and then effectively it got shelved. The retreat was back to the US. It wasn't called Libra anymore, but it's called Diem, and it's to be launched in the US only for US dollar. So what you can say, and this is quite interesting to see, is that like it was almost like a first big event started by a non-bank, Facebook, with trying to become regulated and trying to, as they say, have a constructive dialogue with all the regulators worldwide. But effectively, the effects, as far as I can see, has been that the regulators mainly have become annoyed or even antagonized. Yet I think there is still the innovative potential, but the tone of voice and the approach that Facebook took has not gone down well. So the question is, will next year see Facebook regain strength? Wait and see. One thing that has come out, and that's also interesting, is recently in October, so this month, the BIS issued a paper saying that stablecoins should be subject to the same oversight as other financial market infrastructures. That gives an opening because there are many financial market infrastructures who know how to deal with their oversight regimes, who could now look at stablecoins, including Facebook's. Really triggered by the announcement of Facebook of the Libra earlier on, is that central banks have jumped on digital currencies. The CBDC is top of mind. We've seen live implementations already last year in China, in the Bahamas with the sand dollar, and in Cambodia. And in many other countries, there is accelerated development, proof of concept, and say preparations for going live, even if the decision hasn't been taken yet. Yet also, and notably in the US, doubts remain as to what problem exactly is being solved. And the Federal Reserve Vice Governor Waller gave a quite skeptical speech in August, worth looking at, if you have the time to look it up. A fourth interesting thing is that money is flowing into payment fintechs really big time. The funds that are going there through increases, there are big increases in the number, in the size of funding rounds. What is interesting to note is that it seems to be largely the scale-ups, the companies that have been around but hadn't grown yet very fast, had grown organically, that they are taking a growth sprint, like Stripe, Square, and Klarna, and also the mature payment giants that we've seen around for 5, 10, 15 years, or MasterCard even 60 years. And what we see is that those giants, witnessed by the CFTE market cap tables, which Hui is maintaining, they continue to gain market value. And it seems to be the case that they're just starting to benefit really big time from the fact that they're there and they are established and they're trusted. Now, a quick look to finish off this 5 minutes to the crystal ball for 2022. Basically, on these trends that I've mentioned, I think they'll continue. The acceleration of instant payment, those will go also to include cross-border and cross-currency connections. There is the debate on why CBDC, which will continue, but it will be in parallel with concrete developments. So I think there will be some big debates, but the steamroller will continue to roll. Another thing probably is to see that we'll see even more artificial intelligence, machine learning coming to the rescue, where in fact the risk is raised when payments are being made instant, fraud risk, cybercrime risk, but these new technologies, AI, ML, and also functionalities like confirmation of payee, request to pay are supporting this. And a final prediction that I personally make is I think the Bitcoin economy of El Salvador is a big mistake, and I think it will crash before the end of the year. So thank you for giving the opportunity of sharing a couple of thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you around in payment space soon. And with this, back to CFTE. Thank you.